So this is the beginning of hopefully a new podcast where we talk about gaming and money, and basically not a lot of people talk about their finances. And kind of how this idea came about was, as you can see, we have the UberNick here. We had at the rap party a Halo World Championship. We were kind of sitting in the back, and while everyone else was, drinking and talking about whatever, we were just sitting in the back, kind of going over finances and talking about our interest in money. So first, I'll do a little intro. Obviously, UberNick here. These numbers I wrote down a week ago, I hope they still apply, but I have you at 118K on YouTube, 53K followers on Twitch, 48 on Twitter. You're sponsored by SSG. And I would say, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree, that you're probably the most successful Halo streamer. Perhaps that isn't a pro, or just in general, I would say. But yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem. I always love doing this kind of thing. As you said, we were like sitting chatting about that stuff at the rap party, and it's just something that I have gained a lot of interest in probably in the last like 2 years or so. As I kind of think more so to the future. I'm kind of like leaving my 20s now, so I'm thinking when I'm 40 years old, I want to make sure I'm set up in a good position and not just enjoying the moment.
I mean, I was excited when I talked to you because I like this stuff anyways, but I was excited to see because you're in a unique position where you have a lot of opportunity and you're doing it correctly, or at least you're thinking about that. At least a lot of the gamers I follow on Twitter on Twitch and on YouTube, they don't really make any videos where they talk about how they're handling their finances or their income. So that's why, obviously this is interesting to get someone who obviously is doing this for a living and you're very successful at it, that is willing to talk about basically what you've learned in your streams of income and kind of like just how you enjoy getting into finances too.
I'm still very entry level on it, if that makes sense, which is why I'm so interested in doing this podcast with you, because I feel like you're able to share because you're so into it, you'll be able to share kind of your thoughts on things. And since I'm so entry level, you could maybe even open up what I'm doing and if you actually think that is the correct decision or not, because as I said, I'm still so new to it. I don't even know if what I'm trying to do is the correct thing, because I'm learning new things all the time. And, I've tried things that did not work out whatsoever. So,
yeah, I'm learning too, but I can't give legal advice. But
I was going to say,
it's fun
just
to
know
talk
everyone
about.
everyone watching, this is all financial advice, 100%. You're like, no.
No, we won't be giving any specific numbers or financial advice. It's just fun to talk about in general.
Yeah.
So I had a few questions I kind of wanted to go through, then we can kind of just dig into it a bit. So obviously streaming is your biggest one, and YouTube. What would you say you have what are your other income streams?
So Twitch and YouTube, obviously, as you said. Then I get a salary from Space Station, and then I do sponsors. Maybe, I don't know, maybe every like 1 to 2 months, I have like a decently sized sponsor come through that I would probably activate on my Twitch. I used to do a lot more on my YouTube, but not as much this year. But last year I did quite a few sponsor deals, which is can add up to be quite a large source of my income. But probably those main four, just sponsors, SSG, Twitch, and YouTube, or the main four.
Yeah, I think that's probably like the default for bigger content creators as well. Maybe they go into like affiliate marketing or something like that.
Yeah, I have like codes and stuff. So I have a code for Steel Series and stuff like that, which is awesome. And I make like a little bit of money off of that. But for the most part, unless you're like pushing that super, super heavy hard every single day, you're not going to make like significant money off of that kind of thing.
Yeah, do you just have it down in like the bottom of your Twitch and YouTube description?
I have like a little command on my Twitch chat so that, I think it's kind of nice because for that kind of thing, if someone's maybe thinking about getting a new keyboard, for example, and they see that code message in my chat, they might be like, oh, like that is something that I'm thinking about, and there's a code right there. Let me check this out. So it's more so just planting the seed, I guess, or planting that idea in someone's brain instead of like, go buy a keyboard, use my code, blah blah blah, like really forcing it. It's more so it's there. If you see it, it might trigger that in your brain because you're already thinking about it. I don't want to like beat on people's throats about it. I find whenever I see someone really pushing a code for something in every aspect of what they do, it makes me almost like turn my brain off to it a little bit. Or if it's just in the background, it's just like, oh, I know that's there, but I don't feel like they're like forcing me to use it almost.
Yeah, I agree exactly, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that way too. For your sponsors, like you said, you've only done a few recently, but I assume you get a lot of emails and a lot of people reaching out to you, or what's that kind of process like?
Yeah, so I'm actually partnered with Moonwalk. They're a company under Space Station, so they have brought me sponsors in the past. But for like back when I do YouTube deals, I've done a few Twitch deals for like different games this year, and it's just got a bunch of emails. It
I'd
kind of
imagine.
varies throughout the year. Over the summer, it's actually a little bit slower, but at the beginning of the year and then heading into this, time of year, November, December, the advertisers are obviously getting their money to push whatever product it is or game. So I'm starting to now get a lot more emails, and it's kind of hard sometimes because you always hear about these scam emails being sent to YouTubers and streamers who are trying to fish their data. So I'm like a little bit nervous, which
Mm.
is like bad because I don't want to feel nervous about this stuff. But fortunately, people out there will take advantage. So
That's interesting. I never heard of, like, I'm not obviously getting sponsors, but I've never heard of that aspect. So that's good you're aware of it.
oh yeah, just like an offshoot. Like I know a guy who got a sponsor offer from this company, and they wanted him to download the software to like try it out before. Turns out that
Oh,
software was like a phishing software, and it took all his data, hacked his YouTube, stole his YouTube account, changed all the passwords, emails, and everything, locked him completely out. Then they put it on a
damn.
website selling the YouTube channel for $10,000.
Do you even
He ended,
consider
he ended up
sponsor?
getting it back.
Okay, well, thank.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, he
good
got
to
it
hear.
back.
Do you usually like when sponsors come in? It's usually just ones you've already used, or kind of what you lean towards, or if you like really know the company,
um,
then.
I like taking reoccurring sponsors, so stuff that I've dealt with before. So I did one with an Xbox game a few times this year, and they approached me maybe I want to say May, I think it was, about playing their game and making a video on it. The video part fell through, but I ended up doing the stream portion, and it was great. My community had a really good reception to it. They paid me pretty well. And then a few months later, they hit me up saying, "We have a new update coming out. Do you want to do this again?" And I was like, "Yeah, totally." And then they ended up getting me for a third time, and I was like, "This is great," because I've worked with them numerous times before. It fits into my content totally fluidly. It's not like a weird fit whatsoever. So those are like the absolute dream sponsors. Those are like the ones that you really look out for, but come by not so often, unfortunately.
That was going to be another question I had with the sponsors, is because they seem pretty inconsistent, or like they're kind of all over the place when they come and they come and they go. So you find that hard to like include it in your budgeting or your tracking for your income or how you're using
I
it on expenses.
I kind of don't even try and track those, to be honest, because they are so sporadic. I more so just look at them as a random bonus as they come in because they're so hard for me to track. It's not even worth it at that point. So tracking and budgeting is something that I actually do struggle with. I'm pretty good at saving money, but I'm not good at like setting a limit for myself every month, which is something that going into the new year, I'm gonna take a real proactive effort at doing because, every month it's like I don't really limit, but I'm also not a huge spender, which is a really good habit of mine, thankfully. So
I think that's how exactly I would view sponsors as well, like kind of just bonus on the side because you don't want to rely on it if it's inconsistent.
I do know people though that have like a really good sponsor flow, and they do like they rely on their sponsors to be probably their biggest source of income. So that plays into their budgeting and their yearly turnover and income because they have such a good schedule with it. So I would like to get to that point, but right now I'm not quite there.
How would you say, I mean, with the release of Halo Infinite, how has that really affected obviously your job and your income?
So my YouTube was in a weird spot. It's kind of funny when it comes to streaming. I never wanted to be a full-time Twitch streamer. I always thought it would be like a nightmare, to be honest with you, which is like really odd to think about now. That was like 6 years ago. I thought that. But I was always like YouTuber first and foremost, what I care about, what I wanted to do, love making videos. Um, and then streaming like really took over like my main focus, probably like 5 years ago now. So YouTube was like kind of secondary, even though a lot of people just know me as a YouTuber first and foremost, but that's totally fine.
Was that
Um,
because, sorry to cut you off, was that because like the ease of use is easier to sit down and stream, or because the income, or you just preferred it overall?
I think I just preferred it. Like, the income is great, but I didn't start doing YouTube and content for the money. I don't think anyone that does will have any success with it overall. Um, like I love just building a little community and just hanging out with the same people every night. And if new people come around, that's even better. I just love the sense of community and having like your own little corner of the internet where you hang out with people. And I'm lucky enough to be able to do it full time because they support me, which I'm super grateful for, obviously. But with Infinite coming out, I find my YouTube kind of slow down because I don't know. I feel like I focused super heavy on my Twitch, and it's really hard to balance doing like YouTube, Twitch, running a Twitter account, running an Instagram. Now TikTok is a thing, making YouTube shorts. Like all that for one person is so difficult. So I've had editors. I know I have an editor now that is super reliable, does a great job. So the YouTube is kind of like coming back into full motion. But for the majority of this year, YouTube definitely took a bit of a back seat. So my Twitch, full focus, super easy to sit down, stream, do my thing, and create the content on the Twitch. And with Infinite, my Twitch is seeing great growth, which is really nice. So that definitely was on the up and up. Now with Forge coming out and the new update, it's only been getting better. So yeah, been a good year overall for me.
Yeah, I've noticed the uptick of videos. I love, at least on YouTube, I love the little intros you do before you get into the Forge videos.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's very important to have that nice, draw the little entry instead of just the boring, hey, what's up, everyone? Nick here.
I mean, I think we talked about this at the wrap party or the after party about you're obviously at the state now where I think you should be hiring an editor or maybe two perhaps for your YouTube, because you could just, which I'm sure is the workflow you're doing now, but you just play the games you like and then they can make a video out of it. I see a lot of Valorant streamers, large ones, they do like the clickbaity title because maybe you said something once in the whole video and that's what is
that's how it works.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So I'm glad you're going down that route because it seems like there's more content going out and you don't have to work as hard, or it seems like you're not stressing yourself because you're relying on these people.
Yeah, so I have my YouTube editor, Thomas, shouts out to him. And then I have Trini. He actually uploads my TikToks. So he cuts down clips from my TikTok and throws them up there because I use TikTok maybe way too much, but the effort it takes to like find a clip you think fits for TikTok and editing it down maybe doesn't take that much time, but TikTok requires just, if you take like, a week off TikTok, it's like, no good whatsoever. So you have to be uploading constantly. So Trini uploads 2 TikToks a day for me. And then
Wow.
Thomas, he does like, maybe once every 2 days, he makes a new video, and we're going to try and do daily December. So that's going to be a difficult task, but yeah, the amount of content going out is just unfathomable for a single person. So you need to start building a little team around you to even try and compete, because all the big people have, a whole team working for them on different aspects. So
like at what point in your career did you decide you need to bring someone on? Like was there a certain size maybe on YouTube or Twitch that you thought about it?
When I first got an editor, his name is Elsie. It wasn't even I felt like I needed an editor. It was more so, hey, do you want to try to editing a video for me? Because he was a great editor, and I thought, hey, let's try this out, just because why not? Probably do a good job. And it wasn't because I thought it was overwhelming or too much work. I simply just wanted to see what someone else's take on one of my videos was going to be, and he did an incredible job with it. And I was like, why don't you just always do this? It makes sense if the video is going to be much better because of it. Why don't you just do them? So that's how I started having a regular editor, because I can edit a video, I can put one together and make it entertaining, but I'm not the best editor in the world. Someone really has an eye for that. They'll do a better job than me every single time. So I thought, instead of me trying to like do Twitch, do YouTube, do whatever, all this other stuff, just being active on social media sounds kind of weird, but it is kind of a job, just being like having a presence on Twitter, for example, or Instagram, because you can forget to tweet for like 2 weeks and people will kind of, forget about you on those platforms. So you have to keep a presence wherever you are. So having him do that was a really huge help. And I noticed the channel have a huge uptick in views and subs, because having someone just put all their effort into that, instead of me being like desperately trying to, cook a million different things in my kitchen, having someone else come in to help was huge. So he had some other work come up that he decided to focus on, which is, great, super successful for him. So I brought Thomas on here the last few months, and he's been killing it. So
nice. I'm glad you got someone reliable, and the content's been looking great. So I like that. Would you ever consider more people, or what kind of position you at?
I think in the future, I would love to bring on like a secondary editor under Thomas, or maybe just same as Thomas, to help support him, because even having him just focus on the videos, he also has other work. So if I could have someone come in to maybe, I don't know, cut down the VODs or do like that part of the edit, and Thomas can focus on the fun intros, and maybe like directing that other editor would be really cool. But obviously expanding the team can be very expensive, and I'm not quite there yet, unfortunately. So yeah, bringing in new people is definitely something I'm thinking about when it makes sense to do that.
One thing I did for the Halo Esports YouTube channel is we brought on an editor, a thumbnail artist, and like a producer slash editor. And every Monday we hold like a weekly meeting where you kind of talk about this is the plan for the week. We're gonna get these videos done, and then they kind of work together, and I can kind of step back as long as I'm kind of leading the direction or like riding the wave of what's current, which I'm sure you'll have to do that as well. I highly suggest that when you get to a bigger spot. I mean, obviously you can have like a little Discord where you talk constantly, but it's nice to have like those voice chat meetings as my cats shake my desk.
No, definitely having a thumbnail artist as well is something I'm really thinking about, because Thomas does a great job with thumbnails, but again, having one person do all of that work is not good for them because it might stress them out or something. So kind of giving these tasks to multiple people makes it all overall easier for everyone. So
we talked about like your several streams of income. Are you willing to talk about like percentage wise their distribution, like what your largest source of income would be down to the smallest?
So I would say probably, let me think. So YouTube is my smallest by a significant amount, probably.
Wow, really?
The thing with YouTube though, if you asked me that question a year ago, it probably would have been one of my biggest. But this year, YouTube has become one of my smallest. So it really just depends on what I'm focusing on, where I'm putting the most effort into, and all that. So YouTube for this year is probably like, I don't know, 10%, 20% of my total income. Twitch is probably like a good 50%. Space Station is probably, okay, maybe say Twitch is like 40%. Space Station is probably like 30%, and then sponsor deals probably makes up the rest. So maybe like it could fluctuate a little bit month to month, but with Twitch obviously not being a set amount every month, but it's pretty consistent overall.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, do you feel it's consistent? It's not stressful seeing different numbers come in?
I see a lot of people say they could never stream full time because the non-consistent income, which I 100%, that's actually the reason why, going back to why I said I never would want to be a Twitch streamer, because I thought the idea of being like locked to having to sit down at your desk and stream and not knowing how much money you're going to make that month would be terrifying. And it definitely is. Like, I still do get concerned about it, because at the start of the month when all your stats reset back to zero for that month, you're like, all right, hopefully this month is a good one, but you just got to do your thing. Like, the way I see it, just do my thing. Don't try and force it, holding special events like a little subathon. For anyone watching that doesn't know what a subathon is, it's basically, I say that I'm going to stream for a minimum of 3 hours, say, but every time someone gifts a sub or donates or something, a couple minutes is added to the stream. So those are like good incentives, because obviously the community want to watch me stay up for 24 hours playing Halo. So the subathons are always a lot of fun. Everyone gets involved. It's obviously a revenue generator for me, and it's just a win-win for everyone. So I don't know. I like it. I don't get stressed. I'm a pretty like relaxed person. Thankfully, my personality is super optimistic, relaxed. Never really get stressed that easily. So I don't really get stressed over hoping that this month is going to be a good one. Obviously, having Space Station and the salary is a massive help for me. So that is probably why I don't get super mega stressed, because I have that in the background.
Yeah.
But I don't like relying on that. I always want everything to be going up in their own right, and everything supporting me. If I could pay all my bills with every different revenue source individually, that would be the dream. So that's what I'm always working towards.
I have 2 questions off that. So first one, do you find it hard to take breaks, like go on vacations then? Like, is there quite a big impact it has when you do that?
Yes and no. I am a big believer of, if I don't feel like streaming, I'm not going to stream. I don't feel like forcing yourself to go live, even if you have no real good reason. If you're just a bit tired that day, just feeling off that day, I guess the luxury of doing streaming and all that is you're allowed to do that. Obviously, I've worked a 9 to 5 office job before when I was like 20, and I worked there for 2 years. And there was days I felt exactly that. I can't really be like, I feel a little bit off today. I'm not going to take the day off. That's definitely the biggest positive to being a full-time content creator. You can kind of make your own hours, but then at the same time, doing that, if you don't work, you're not going to make any money. So it kind of balances out in that regard. But I guess that goes for anyone that works for themselves in any industry. But yeah, I'm a big believer of if I feel like I need a break, I'll take a break. But I'm pretty good at not, kind of overdoing it. I would never take more than 2 days off, unless I was going on a trip. But at the same time, if I go on a trip somewhere, I don't feel bad. I tell my community, and they're always super understanding, and they're always just like, "Yeah, take your time. We'll be here when you get back." Which is super comforting. I think the longest break I ever took off Twitch was maybe like 10 days. And I like after like the third day, I was like, I want to stream so bad. It was like this like aching feeling of I just want to go live and just stream. So yeah, I don't like taking breaks, but at the same time, I have to live a life off camera for a little bit of time sometimes, just for my own good. So it's always nice to take breaks from time to time, but also without overdoing it.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing it kind of perfectly then, have the right mindset. And obviously it's nice to have that consistency underneath with a space station.
Yeah, definitely. Super thankful for them.
Do you feel like with all your content, you're kind of locked into being like a Halo guy because that's where you've created your audience, or have you experimented with playing, maybe you feel like playing another game once in a while?
Actually, I was talking to my buddy about this earlier on. I see a lot of people talking about this. They kind of maybe have regrets of just doing Halo, and I get it. I love Halo to bits, but if I could just upload whatever game and stream any game and get the same amount of viewers, that's the dream. Everyone dreams of being able to do whatever they want with their content and having the same viewership, making the same money. But the reality of that is just really difficult. The amount of people that are able to do whatever they want, and still get the same support is very difficult, because most people grow because they do focus on one thing. Then slowly they start, introducing other elements, other games and all that kind of stuff. I'm lucky where I'm like a total weirdo. I just love Halo. Like I really, really, really love playing Halo. I think the community that I've built around me and Halo is the reason I love it so much. Obviously, I love the game to bits, but I love the people that come to my stream and hang out with me every day. Like it's just so much fun for me to like chat with them every single day. It's like a little family, a little community. And like I don't have an issue streaming another game every so often. I love streaming scary games, for example. So Callisto Protocol comes out in a few weeks, and I'm definitely gonna stream through that. Super excited. Plan on doing a God of War playthrough, and like I'd be lying if I said I didn't care about the viewership. It's part of streaming. Part like the number game is always going to be lurking in the back of your head, but I've got a lot better at not caring as much as I used to, because you'll drive yourself insane to the point of not even wanting to go live because you're worried that what if my numbers are down a little bit today. So yeah, I tend not to care about the viewer number as much, as long as the people that are there are having a good time. I think that's the best way to go about your content. So yeah, focused on Halo, but if another game comes out or comes up, I'll definitely check it out without, worrying too much about that stream.
Nice. I mean, you're very successful with the Halo stream. I feel like you're one of the only people that can just do Halo, at least in the community right now. At least to this level where I feel like you're secure and you can just keep doing it. I mean, the game's been rough, but you feel like even through those patches, like you've still been there and you've been consistent. So that's good to hear you love it the whole time.
Yeah, no, there's people that are like, oh, there's no way he loves it. He must be getting paid by 343. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say. I've been playing Halo for however many years. It's been 14 years now, and I'm going to randomly stop playing it because it has a rough patch. Forge has come out and it's completely breathed my love for it right back up there. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm super happy.
Yeah, I told you this before, but obviously capitalizing on Forge coming out and seeing the uptick in YouTube content is obviously, genius in what you should be doing. But it does seem like you're really enjoying it, because I enjoy watching them. I'm like, what game should I play? I'm gonna see what UberNick picked.
Well, that's exactly it. I was kind of waiting for this Forge update for since it was announced, because I was like, I just know whenever that comes out, making content is just going to be so much easier, and it has been. It's been awesome. So
Do you try to do a lot of like collaborations with other YouTubers? I know we're doing one now, but just in general.
yeah, Infinite hasn't really allowed for that, unfortunately. It's not a very like collab friendly game. But now that Forge has come out, that's totally changed. So I did a 1v1 with my buddy Takwin the other day, and that was a great video. People that watched it really enjoyed it. I have one recorded with my friend Hidden Xperia that's coming out in the next
Nice.
few days, which is going to be really good. So now that Forge has come out, I love doing collaborations. I personally think my best content is when I do collabs with my friends, because as a viewer, I love watching a group of friends having fun doing something they all enjoy. I find that so fun to watch. So the more I can do that in Halo Infinite, the better. So if I could do a collab for every single video, I probably would, to be honest.
When you organize that with other creators, is it usually like we'll do one video for me, one video for you? Is that kind of how you guys go through it?
Yeah, we basically just upload our perspectives of what we've recorded and just, share
That
it
makes
that way, and
sense.
then we'll cross-link to each other's videos from the ones that we make. So kind of benefits us both that way. And obviously they're going to be the same video, but also different because you're seeing it from the other person's perspective. So there might be the interest from the viewer to see, oh, what did they see in this moment, or what was it like from their point of view?
Yeah, I didn't even think of that actually. Now it seems like a silly question, but that's a win-win right there.
Yeah.
I know, especially you said YouTube is a little lower on your income, but for YouTube gaming, like the RPM or how much is earned per minute, I've been told it's very low. Are you willing to talk about maybe like what the revenue per 1,000 views is on your YouTube?
I mean, I can give you a straight up answer. I don't feel like there's any need for me to hide that. So let
I'm
me see.
very
I'll find a good
interested.
example. So I'll go off this Rust in Halo Infinite 1v1 video that I did. It's a 15-minute video, and I made $50 off that. Um, so it's like okay, but that all depends on the watch time. So the
Hmm.
longer someone watches, if there's like a mid-roll ad, then that'll hit, and then they'll basically watch like in a second advert in the video. So it's a really good video, and they watch all the way through, it'll make more money. If it's a long video but it's not very interesting, it'll make less money. So the videos kind of goes up and down. If it's less than 8 minutes, you don't have any mid-roll ads, so that'll make less money. There's a lot of different like boxes you have to tick when it comes
Yeah.
to trying to make as much money. And to be honest with you, I don't really put that much thought into that. I'm just more so happy to put out a good video. So I don't really worry about having to hit that 8 minute mark on a video. So I can definitely put a mid-roll ad in there. If a video is like 6 minutes, but the other footage I have is boring, I'll not put it in. I'll keep it less than 8 minutes, because what's the point in me throwing a mediocre video, longer video out instead of a shorter, better video?
Yeah, you can really tell when people stretch it too, so it's better not to. Since you
Yeah.
have your stuff up, do you have any YouTube videos that surprise you on maybe like they had a higher income even though views weren't maybe like your most popular one?
Let me have a look here. I talk about this stuff on my stream fairly often because, there's people that watch that are maybe interested in streaming or making videos themselves, but I feel like giving a realistic idea of how much money you can make is a good thing. I don't feel like hiding it benefits anyone, especially if you're explaining it in a way where it's like you're not flexing or showing off, you're doing it purely for informative,
Hmm.
like a teaching moment. So let's see. Actually, do have a good example. So I made a video years ago. It's my most viewed video on YouTube, called the Noble Team video. It has 548,000 views on YouTube. How much money do you think that video made? Oh, it's also a
How
30-minute
long is
video.
it? No, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard to tell with the RPM because I don't know
Yeah.
what gaming numbers are at. I'd have to like
Mhm.
5,000.
Made $1,000.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that'd be a lot higher.
Yeah. So that's what you would expect.
Mm.
So let's see. Another example is I made an Apex Legends video, and I had never made an Apex video before ever. This video ended up getting, let's see, 241,000, so like less than half the amount of views, and it's also 12 minutes, so it's a little bit shorter. This video made $1,300, and
Interesting.
I have no idea why. It made more money. It's a shorter video, like less than half the views, but it made more money. So I don't know. I really don't know how YouTube works when it comes to its revenue at all.
Yeah, because they're both gaming. Maybe it's just like where the viewers were from, or I don't
My
know if
this might have been a case of how long they watched, because maybe the 30-minute video lost their interest versus a 12-minute video. It was a tutorial, so maybe they watched longer, so more mid rolls were
Mhm.
watched, so it generated a bit more money. But it's just interesting how the video was less than half the views by hundreds of thousands, and it still made more money.
I knew the RPM was lower on gaming stuff, so it is hard, at least for smaller creators, to make money on YouTube. So that's why it's obviously smart to have multiple streams of income, and
Hmm.
the fact they complement each other so well with the Twitch to YouTube videos is very good.
Hmm.
So you talked about this at the beginning, but you said you kind of pay yourself, or at least you what you're saving and investing goes in at the end of the month. Have you ever thought about maybe like doing that first? Like, have you ever heard the saying paying yourself first, where some money comes in and some money automatically say goes to an investing account or saving account, and then whatever's left
Um,
over is what you continue with?
I got maybe that is kind of how I work it. It's kind of, since the money every month is different, I kind of like don't think about, what order I do things. So I put a little bit of money into an S&P 500 every month, and I just do that immediately as soon as I get paid on the 15th every month. And then after that, I'm kind of like, all right, I'll chuck it in my bank and then, or my savings account. And then obviously whenever I have bills to pay, whatever the bills are, I'll take that. So it's kind of sat there ready to be taken out of the account. So basically how I work it every month, I just invest that little amount and then have the bills amount set, to the side, and then whatever's left is just put it straight into my savings.
Nice. So yeah, you kind of do that then. Do you think a lot of like other creators kind of in the space or in other games think about that kind of stuff? I feel like because it's not talked about, I don't know if everyone's. It reminds me of kind of athletes where they're in this phase where maybe a new game is hot or they're everything's going well right now, but like it's not going to last forever most likely, or you have to really adapt. So I wonder if they hopefully put as much thought into their finances as you have been.
So I have a few friends that are way better at this stuff than I am, and they're pretty much set for life because they've been so smart with their income and how much money they've earned and all that kind of stuff. And I know other people that I don't think it's ever been a thought in their head. Not because they're like not, smart. It's just something they don't even consider right now. I do think it's really, really important because I think YouTube and content creators and all that, especially like the younger generation, everyone wants to be a YouTuber and a Twitch
Mhm.
streamer when they're like 5 years old now, which is crazy to me. In a good way, it's cool, but I think it's really important that I wasn't taught any of this stuff. I learned zero financial advice. I learned absolutely nothing in school, in education whatsoever. And I've only thankfully like been okay because I myself, out of my own interest, Googled or YouTube stuff. But if I didn't do that, then I don't know. I'd be like in 20 years' time, I don't know where I'd be at. And I'm proactively now trying to like make sure that I'm not in a bad situation when I am older. But it does worry me a lot that there are a lot of people around my age or probably younger. I'm 28 now, and there's probably 18-year-olds who are making quadruple, 5 times the amount of money that I am doing what they're doing. And when they get to 28, 30, is that still going to be working for them? Are they going to have any money left because they're so young? It's definitely like, it is concerning. So I think it's important people talk about it.
So you just do like the S&P 500, playing it nice and safe. Did you ever uh,
Yeah.
do anything different before? Maybe learn from some mistakes.
So I have invested in crypto a little bit before. I think it was maybe the beginning of 2021. That's when I started getting interested in that. I'd always heard about crypto and Bitcoin and all that stuff for years, and I was like, whatever. I feel like if I had put money into Bitcoin when I first heard about it, I would be a millionaire right now. But I think like everyone else, you heard Bitcoin and you're like, whatever. Just who cares about this Bitcoin thing? Turns out you could have made a lot of money off it, but that's his life. But started 2021, I was like, okay, let me actually like look at this cryptocurrency thing. So I invested a little bit of money into crypto. I've lost most of it because I didn't do any research. Basically, I was taking advice from places that I didn't really do my own research, which is silly. I have done some more now, but I feel like crypto is a little bit too volatile for my personal interest in investing money. So I only invested money that I was like happy enough. It's kind of like a gamble. Like crypto is
Yeah.
basically gambling. So I only invested money that if I lost it all, I'd be like, that sucks, but it's not going to affect my financial life whatsoever. I was silly and didn't do enough research, but now I'm passing this information along where do your research first.
Yeah, that sounds similar to probably a lot of people with crypto. Like you heard about it, and then even if they do the research, obviously it's very confusing and it's a volatile thing. I view it as gambling as well. I mean, I view stocks as gambling too, which is why I've transitioned to basically what you're doing is kind of just some ETFs each week. Like I'm going to be, or each month, I'm going to be just a boring investor. I spent the first few years obviously getting into it and having fun, like not like day trading, but like picking companies I was rooting for and all this.
Yeah.
And just the way, like the more you learn, the more you realize like you don't know. And you're up against people who are very, very smart, the smartest people in the world, and they still don't know and they're still losing. So just like, why gamble that money? I get when you're younger, people take bigger risks because it can pay off. But I feel like my birthday is in January and I'm going to be turning 30 this year. So I'm close to your age. And I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to pick the safe index funds and I'm not really going to look at it as much because there's no need.
More than happy. I'm more than happy in being completely boring with that kind of stuff and not gambling my hard-earned money. So
yeah, I went through that phase. I did the ups and downs and I'm kind of numb to it. Like how you said, you're numb to the
you're numb to it. You see the red number and you
Yeah.
just have like a somber look in your face.
Yeah, like yeah, it's red. It's always red. Keep going. But yeah, I just moved over to America. Obviously, I live in Canada, or I was in Canada, so I'm just kind of getting used to the American. As my cat attacks my foot, get out of here. I didn't know I actually have access to investing in America. I thought I had to still like send money back to Canada, then do it. But now I'm seeing I can. So I'm like, well, this is like a new account because I have to open it up in one of the American like brokers. And I'm like, this is just going to be my boring account. It's going to be like these two index funds and see how it goes. Do you guys have any kind of like tax-free accounts over in UK?
I'm not too sure. That's also something I need to research and look into, but I'm not too sure, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest researching into that because maybe you could be potentially leaving money on the table if you get taxed too hard on capital gains. Like, so you've been doing this for a long time now. So how far back was it when you realized like this is a livable career for you?
It's pretty recent, to be honest with you. So I started making content, oh goodness, 12 years ago, maybe 2009, I think, when I was in high school. Just like, I don't know, Windows Movie Maker, PowerPoint slides, basically. I think my first video was a Halo 3 montage using the Bungie Pro. You remember that tool where you could like download clips on your computer? You paid like the little fee every month or whatever.
Yeah, my first montage was that as well, actually.
Yeah, that's my first. It was to Eminem and Rihanna, "Love the Way You Lie," absolute banger. So going from that, 13 years ago to now is like so huge. But obviously for the first, let me see, I properly started doing YouTube, I think 2014. Before that, it was very random, all over the place. Didn't know what I was doing. 2014 is whenever I really started actually making proper content. Didn't have any success until 2016. That's when I got let go from my job at the time. Not because I was a bad employee for anyone out there. I just didn't have any work to do, so they let me go because it wasn't worthwhile keeping me around, which I understand. I had like 2,000 subscribers then. And then I uploaded a video that was totally different from my content at that time, and I uploaded it, and it blew up, and I gained a load of subscribers off it, and it really kickstarted my channel. Then I started some series on my channel, and they all popped off. So I had a really lucky, like 6 month to 1 year span from like end of 2016 to the end of 2017, basically, where I really solidified my channel into a point where it was like always growing and going in the right direction. And in that time, I also started streaming consistently. So even during this time, I wasn't making anywhere near enough money. I was maybe like, I don't know, $700-800 a month, maybe. I can't even remember. I might have been lower than that, to be honest with you. Luckily, my parents were super supportive. And then maybe it got to around like 2020. It was probably around the start of COVID, to be honest, because I guess everyone was working from home and watching a lot more Twitch, where my income started to become a little bit more stable. Um, so probably around 2020, the last 2 years or so, is when my income started becoming like somewhat stable every single month to the point where I felt comfortable that I could pay my bills and put away a little bit of money every month and maybe buy something for myself every so often where I didn't have to be super concerned about whether I was going to be able to pay off my bills.
Nice. Yeah, I forgot about the big uptick that streaming had during the beginning of COVID.
Yeah, definitely was like it almost seemed like a night and day difference overnight. It was crazy.
Even like some YouTubers I watch, like obviously they're not streaming, but I remember that being like a big turning point. Everyone started watching more videos, whether it be live stream or videos in general. I do
Yeah.
like that. I mean, you mentioned this a while ago that you're going to try to do a video day in December.
Mhm.
I'm not sure everyone's aware, but obviously there's more money in ads in November and December because marketers, not only are those like holiday seasons, so there's more ads going out there, but you have to use up whatever money you have left for the year.
Mhm.
So it's very smart that you're doing that. I'll be interested to see not really even just the money, but the views, how much maybe, because I know YouTube really rewards people who are very consistent. I heard there's a big difference from 2 videos to 3 videos a week.
No, for sure. I did a daily December back in, I think it was 2017. I did it. I uploaded every single day in December, and it was so tough. But this time, I have Thomas, my editor. So together, we're gonna kind of bounce off each other and make it happen, and also make sure every video, every single day is high quality. That's the most important part. So yeah, summer's gonna be a tough grind, but it's gonna be good.
You can take a little break right after that and do like a week off.
Maybe I'll still be streaming as well, so I'll never take a full big break, but maybe I'll take a few days off just to recoup myself. I do know some people that go super hard December and then they basically just take all of January off, but I don't know. I feel like I'd be scared doing that, so I'll maybe slow down, but I won't stop by any means.
Yeah, I feel like you and I are similar where that would just eat at you. You'd want to be doing something, always want to be
Yeah,
productive.
it's kind of like the gym now for me. I'm very new to the gym, and I'm like, if I'm not going, I feel like it's a wasted potential or a wasted day. And it's the same with YouTube. If I go 4 days without uploading, I'm like, that's just wasted. Like nothing. I've done nothing for myself because I've not bothered for these days. So I'm glad I've got into that mindset with every aspect of my life now.
That's just funny because the gym is how I view investing as well, like these small little steps over time to build
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
I guess one last one before we go. So a lot of people, obviously, you mentioned this as well. Everyone nowadays wants to be a content creator, whether that be Twitch or YouTube, and you're living it. And a lot of people look up to you, especially in the Halo scene. Do you have any advice for maybe more realistic advice for people who just think they can go play video games and make a lot of money? Like, what kind of steps would you suggest they take, not only with their money, but maybe just becoming a content creator?
So first off, I wouldn't become one with money in mind. That's definitely like my biggest advice. Like do it purely out of the passion and the love for it, because that'll be shown off big time to the potential audience you're gonna grow if you're just making or if you're just doing stuff simply to make money. It'll just become such a unfun environment to watch and be in. So if you do, obviously have that passion and you do start making decent money and good money, um, just be smart. Don't go out and buy all this designer stuff and uh, super expensive and get a big car or whatever. Uh, Saying that, it's definitely okay to treat yourself. I think I'm a big believer in treats and rewards. And if you've had a great month or good year or whatever, or you've done a big sponsor that you're super happy with, make sure you treat yourself. I think money and saving and financial stability is great, but at the same time, you have to live your life and enjoy it and do little things for yourself to remind yourself, like, I worked really hard and I've earned this. Looking at a money in an account is great, but if you're like got nothing around you, but at the same time, there are people that are happy not having any treats and low rewards and stuff, which is totally fine. But personally, I like shoes, so like I'll buy like a nice pair of shoes maybe like once or twice a year, just as a little pat on the back. But yeah, just be smart. Don't go out spending crazy money on random stuff for the sake of it. Be smart, put yourself in a good position, make sure you're comfortable every month. The last thing you want to worry about is, can I pay my bill off because I went and bought this excessively expensive thing? So make sure you're stable first so you're not worrying about that and just focus on your content.
Great advice. So thanks, Nick. I appreciate you coming on here. I know you're a busy guy. Just had your birthday, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, that was awesome. I had a blast, and I'm really glad we got to really knock out some of these core points that I've been thinking about for a long time. Once we had that conversation in Seattle, I was like, I feel like there's a lot we can expand on this. So I'm happy we sat down and got this done.
Yeah, me too.